if we add to that list going forward. That just open it up to questions.
Garoppolo is cleared to play or to practice, or has he not had his physical?
Well, he had a good outside visit with his independent doctor. He's one of the guys in the afternoon, so that's his physical will take place this afternoon. We had a good meeting with Jimmy this morning, Kyle and myself, and had a really good discussion. The good news is he's feeling great, and doing a nice job with his throwing program, the ramp up part of that, and that's exciting to hear.
Is there an expectation he'll go on PUP?
I don't see it but everything's dictated by that physical. So.
He is here, and you've had conversations with him. Has he at any point expressed a desire to just be released?
No, he hasn't had that. I think we've had multiple discussions, and I do believe that, when he left, we've never had, Jimmy, when he gets out of here, he's out of here. So it wasn't like we had ongoing conversations, but we spoke when he left, and, we had a pretty good understanding of what was going on. And, because of the surgery and the ramifications of that in other teams' eyes, nothing's transpired as of yet, but he's here, he's reported. We'll see what happens in the physical, and we'll move forward, accordingly.
Do you expect him to be practicing, or
No, I think like any player, there's always a reacclimation to practice and all that. So there's throwing to the side and ramping up, and he's still working on that. So.
And I mean, it was great to talk to him today. It's always easier when you talk to the person. You got to talk to both of us. So just the three of us caught up on a lot of stuff, and I think all three of us are very much on the same page. Jimmy understands where we're at. We understand where we're at. Like, I can't tell you how appreciative I have been of Jimmy and him being here, and so appreciative of what he did for us last year. I think Jimmy, and we knew what move we made the year before on that. Jimmy did a hell of a job coming to camp and winning that job and taking us real close to the Super Bowl. But we have moved on to Trey. We're starting camp out this way. We think Jimmy would have been traded if the surgery didn't happen, and it did. He needed to do it, so there's no ill will there at all. But it's good to see that he is healthy. But now it's all just seeing how this will end up. All three of us are on the same page, and we'll always think about Jimmy. He knows we have a team to think about too, and we'll work together to figure out the best thing for that. But in the meantime, I mean, he's cleared to practice, but he does have a throwing program that, like all guys do when they get elbow or shoulder surgery, anything with your arm, there's a protocol on how you build them up so they don't re-aggravate that. And he'll be doing that on the side and things. We don't plan on practicing him with the team and things like that. And we'll take it day by day and constantly talk with them, and hopefully can figure out the best for both.
Are you still hopeful that you'll be able to trade him, or do you feel that window was missed with the surgery?
I think it made it a lot harder with the surgery. I think that's why everyone knows the situation we're in. And we understand that, so we're not trying to kid ourselves or play any game. I think the whole league understands that. But you also can't just give one of the better quarterbacks in the league, just make him available for no reason to the whole world. So, and the good thing is you can have those conversations with Jimmy, and he understands that too. So we're going to try to do the best for both sides. But there's things we got to work through. And it starts with getting the physical today by our doctors, which I expect that to go well, just like it did with his doctor. And then we'll see how fast this goes. But
another team, you'd want to be there sooner rather than later to start the season. Is there a date in mind, a deadline that he wants this done so that he can kind of start fresh with this new team?
Yeah, I think everybody wants everything as fast as can. Everyone doesn't like to be in a holding pattern. We don't. He doesn't. So yeah, as soon as we can. But that involves another team and it working out somewhere Jimmy wants to go. And hopefully with everyone being on the same page and open to all the dialogue and the same with other teams, hopefully that will happen sooner than later. I think that'd be good for him and good for us.
Waiting a while, though, there seems to be some thought that his mere presence is going to be upsetting to Trey in some way. I mean, are you just seeing how this plays out for a little bit?
I'm pretty comfortable because of just how clear I just was with my words. This is Trey's team, and that's nothing against Jimmy. We made that decision a year ago, and we're going with that, and we're not going to mess around with that anymore. And I don't think we really have messed around with that much, but once we made that decision, we did, and Jimmy understands that fully. He's a big guy, and it's nothing against him either. That's a business decision, and that's what makes it not awkward. Yeah, it's tough, but there's contracts or stuff that you have to do, and that's what when I feel like we're doing that as good as we can, and that is possible because of the type of guy Jimmy is and the type of relationship we have and the circumstances. It's everyone, I think if you look at it, you can see why he got to this with the surgery and when it happened, and we understand it, and it'll take care of itself. But Jimmy knows we're going with Trey, Trey knows we're going with Trey, and our team does. So and everyone likes both the guys, so it is what it is.
Staying with Debo right now.
You know, we've had really productive and substantive talks. You know, I don't want to get everyone all excited that something's imminent because we're not there yet, but, you know, really hopeful that in the near future we'll be able to, you know, announce something that's exciting for everyone involved. And so that's good. Debo's here today, and we're excited about moving forward with him as part of this team.
To practice before he signs or before you get something done, or is that still done?
Focused on getting something done. That's you know, deadlines, and then there's not a hard deadline, but deadlines, you know, have a way of spurring these things into action. And you know, that's like I said, we've had a number of productive talks, and hopeful that something's you know, something's going to happen here in the near future.
It's been reported that Trey Lance suffers from arm fatigue, and one day he'll throw a lot, and the next day his arm will be so tired he won't be able to throw at all. Is that accurate?
I think it happened one day in training camp last year, but that would be accurate with every quarterback ever coached. So yeah, guys get arm fatigue at times, but nothing to. I mean, Trey's arm was great throughout all of OTAs. It's been great talking to him through the whole summer, and I expect it to be the best it's looked tomorrow when we practice. But for a report to come out about a guy's arm soreness, I get it. There could be a report about every quarterback I've ever coached, though, too. But no, I think we're all right with his arm soreness.
Were there certain benchmarks with Trey that you saw either during his rookie season or at some points of this offseason where you got to a point where, okay, I do feel comfortable now giving him the team and making him the starting quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, you'd always love to watch someone play 16 or 17 games. You know a lot more. But we studied the heck out of him in college, and then he had times in the first OTAs he got here in the rookie mini camp and in training camp where it's like, wow, this might come fast. And then you see the next day, it's like, all right, he is a rookie and he hasn't gone through a lot. So we saw that through the whole rookie year, the ups and downs, and that's what's tough about some young guys playing, because it's tough to go through those ups and downs and win a lot of games. That's why I thought it was great for him and for our team that he didn't have to go through that, and we still had a pretty decent season. But this offseason, I think the most encouraging thing is you go through all the ups and downs, but he comes to OTA 1, and it was how he finished the OTAs. You throw a lot at it. You go through a whole thing of installation and where he was at the end. Definitely not the finished product, but it was much further ahead than the beginning. And when you deal with a guy who's got the ability and stuff, and all eyes are on him, and the pressure's on him, not just with you guys, but with teammates and stuff, that's what you want to see, him getting better as he gets the opportunities. And if he gets better as he gets opportunities, then you're a hell of a lot more encouraged to give him a lot more opportunities.
How do you want to coach him this camp in terms of if a play breaks down, do you want him to pass first and just thread it in there? Or do you want to see him take off running and use those legs that we haven't really, they've been under wraps basically for the last year, and kind of get some of that going?
I want him to do the best decision possible. And if the number 2 guy in the progression is wide open because they busted a coverage and he gets to there, as he goes, I hope he hits number 2. If number 1's covered and there's a lane wide open and he just doesn't hesitate and hits it and moves the chains, I hope he does that. There's an element, and when you have that skill asset of moving the ball with your feet, I mean, it's a great bonus. And anytime something happens, you want him to do that. And that's the fine line of people playing this position, because a lot of times when people don't know, they're not developed enough at quarterback and they have that option, they're going to always go to it, which is so cool to have that option. But that also doesn't allow you to get better in the other areas. So that's what he's got to find in his game. But the whole point is moving the chains. And we might call a play number 1's wide open, he doesn't throw it, you might be upset, but when it ends with a first down, you're quickly over it. And you get used to how do we win games, and you learn that with each player you coach. And you have an idea in practice, you have an idea off their skill set, but you have no idea until you get into the games. And usually a player gets better with the coach the more they're together, and the coach gets better with the player. But you don't just learn that stuff by talking about it. You got to go through it.
Kyle, do you feel like you're on the same page with Debo as far as how he's going to be used this season? Has that been something that you two have discussed about just, will the second half of last season carry over to this season?
Yeah, I had a real good discussion. We're on the exact same page on it.
Young has made himself available sort of as a resource sounding board to Trey. Are you privy to those conversations, and what type of value does that provide somebody like Trey in this situation?
I'm not privy to it, but I hope they talk all the time. And Steve Young's one of my favorite players of all time, one of my favorite people of all time. And if you ever go back and watch his film, I like to act like I did in middle school, but I didn't. And you watch it now, it's like, holy cow, he's better than I even realized. So, and he's also one of the smartest people I've ever met in my life. So anytime that guy wants to talk to any of our players, please do it.
There's one day where I think Trey was doing some promotional stuff with Jerry, and they were doing for the Goat Fuel, and they were shooting. Well, Steve had decided to come down and say hello to Trey, and I get a call. We had a new security guard, and Steve rolls up in his minivan, and somebody else said, hey, Steve's rolling around in his minivan, said he can't get in the gate, and so, but that day I do know I wasn't privy to what their discussion was. It was pretty cool to look out on the field and see those guys, and they talked for a long time, and I know Trey values that. Trey's a guy who's going to soak up as much information as humanly possible, and he also understands what a tremendous resource, and the same can be said for so many 49ers, such a great tradition here, a winning tradition, and to not take advantage of that would be foolish, and we're just grateful for guys like Steve who are willing to share their experiences, with our guys. Bryant Young's here today, and was here yesterday as he's getting ready for Canton, and saw him in the locker room talking to a lot of our younger players, and more of that we can get, the better.
Young mentioned that he sees Trey's processing abilities as one of his better qualities. Do you also see that from him?
Yes, I do. I mean, that was one of the things we liked about him the most in college. Thought he, they didn't do a ton of it just because of how good of a team they were and how much they ran it. But when he did do it, you could see that he had the skill set to do it and was good at it. Completely different speed of the game compared to where he was playing in the now, and to get into those pockets is totally different. You don't always get to see it in college quarterbacks, and it's not always their fault. Sometimes their offenses don't ask them to, but that's one thing I did like about studying Trey.